Back, still workers are testing their mettle against the industry. They've embarked on a strike demanding an 8% wage increase after declaring a dispute at the Metal and Engineering Industries Bargaining Council. More than 400,000 workers are supposedly taking part in the mass action. Steel and Engineering Industries Federation of South Africa CEO Lucio Trentini speaks to us now about this. So, Mr. Trentini, thank you for your time. So, what happened? Why are we talking about a strike in such a difficult economic circumstance? Couldn't you and Numsa find one another?
Well, we certainly have been trying, and we've been trying very hard, and negotiations have been ongoing for quite a number of months. And regrettably, the situation has got to the point where Numsa, in its wisdom, believes that it is necessary to trigger a strike in a sector that, quite frankly, can do without a strike. Numsa may well have 400,000 members in South Africa Pty Limited, but in our sector, the Numsa membership is just over 100,000 at most. And quite frankly, every single job that we have in this sector needs to be preserved and protected. We are down to 200,000 blue-collar workers in our sector, a sector that 30 years ago, when I joined the sector, employed over 500,000 factory workers. So we are confronted with a strike today, triggered by Numsa. We are anticipating receipt of a memorandum, which we will receive. But having said that, we remain available and will make ourselves available to continue to meet with all the trade unions, including Numsa, in an effort to bring the strike to an end as quickly as possible. Because a strike in this sector, which is a key strategic sector in the economy of our country, is the last thing that South Africa Pty Limited needs. So it's unfortunate, but it's a reality, and it's a reality that employers are aware of, have planned for, and regrettably will be answering to.
So the demands from Numsa's side are an 8% across-the-board increase in this financial year, followed by a CPI plus 2% increase for the two subsequent years. And you are, on your side, what's your take on these demands? Not affordable at all?
The Numsa demands are absolutely not affordable. We have countered with what we believe is a fair offer, an offer that requires serious consideration by the organised labour movement. The offer is also packaged in a 3-year deal. Year 1 is linked to 4.4%, which is the April CPI index. Year 2 and year 3 is linked to CPI, with a guaranteed cost of living adjustment in year 2 of 0.5% and year 3 of 1%. And I just want to remind the viewers this afternoon that entry-level wages in our sector for companies that fall under our federation, which is the vast majority of employees employed by employees in the sector, is 12,500 Rand a month. Now, we're talking about a general labourer in the sector with guaranteed statutory benefits ranging from pension, provident fund, family responsibility leave and the like, and an entry-level rate without the increases that I've referred to equates to a monthly take-home package of 12,500 Rand a month. We think that's fair. We think that is morally defendable, and we believe it is an offer that is not something that should be taken lightly. We understand that it's not acceptable to Numsa, hence the strike. We appreciate their moves from 8 to 7, and we believe that there will be further compromises on their side if there is going to be a quick deal in this sector at this time round. So that's where we're at.
So you are quoted elsewhere, Mr. Trentini, as warning that the strike could be disastrous. And I think I mentioned that to our economy as we try and claw our way back after the devastation of COVID-19 and the lockdowns and other impact. And generally, we're coming off a very low base. And you've been quoted as saying that this could be worse than the strike action of 2014.
Absolutely. We're coming off a base where, quite frankly, this industry or this part of the economy wasn't exactly shooting out the lights when it came to the economic performance of the sector. We were already in a recession. We had been downgraded to junk status, as everyone is well aware of. We've had massive job losses in the sector. The sector, as I've indicated, employs now just over 200,000 employees. In the last 18 months, we've lost 25,000 blue-collar workers, and I expect that number to increase over the next couple of weeks. And indeed, COVID and the effects of COVID on our sector have not aided us at all, and has made a difficult situation that much more challenging. I have little doubt in my mind that if the strike generates the sort of support we saw in 2014, which I hope that we can avoid, and we will be working around the clock to ensure that we can avoid that, the loss to the South African economy will be devastating. In 2014, this sector lost in the region of about 300 million rand a day. And those are losses that in the current climate are unfathomable and are unacceptable. And quite frankly, it's teetering on the brink of being completely irresponsible to be talking about strike action when employees are really struggling to hold on to the jobs that they have, and employers are struggling to keep the doors open. The effect of COVID on the back of everything we've been through in the last 18 months has made it extremely difficult for this industry to remain competitive and to ensure that employers can continue to keep the doors open and keep employees in jobs. So we understand that strike action and the flip coin of strike action, lockout action, which we have already informed and prepared our members to consider, should it become necessary to do so, is part of the collective bargaining ritual. But as much as strike and lockout action is part of that ritual, so is the obligation to keep on talking. And we will engage with organised labour led by Numsa, and we will find an agreement because it is in South Africa's best interest that we do so. It won't be an agreement in line with the numbers that have been presented by Numsa, but we believe there's a little bit of room for compromise on both sides, and we can bring the strike to an end as quickly as possible.
Lastly, Mr. Trentini, do you have any appreciation for the argument that says the workers did not even get an increase last year in the wake of the lockdowns, and you and I, as a matter of reality, know that the cost of living has gone up? I mean, we're all feeling the pain. These are workers that have to pay the same 15% more for electricity, for example, from Eskom, City Power and other suppliers of electricity, that have to pay more for fuel, pay more. Everything has gone up in the time that they've not had an increase.
No, absolutely. And we thank Labour for the sacrifices they've made in agreeing last year to postpone negotiations from last year to this year. And that was done in the best interests of heeding the call of the President of our country to do whatever we can to keep people in jobs and to keep factories open. And that deal that was struck last year, which guarantees employees 12,500 Rand a month, because remember, I'm talking about a package rate that does not take into account what is on the table, went a long way towards achieving the objectives, the challenges put to us by the President of the country. Hence, the aim of concluding a 3-year deal and to ensuring that in years 2 and years 3 of the deal, we can guarantee our employees a above inflation rate increase, and that we can continue to do what is in the best interest of South Africa Pty Limited. Because at the end of the day, a job in this sector is a job that needs to be protected and preserved. This is a sector that is a key strategic sector. It's a supplier and customer to the mining, auto, motor and construction industry. And it is not a sector that we can allow to be hemorrhaged by job losses and or strike action.
All right, I've got to thank you. Good luck in trying to resolve these matters. A lot riding on it, not only for yourselves, but as you say, for the entirety of the South African economy. That's SIFSA's Lucio Trentini there, talking to us about the strike action that's on the go in the metal and engineering sector, in the steel sector, by members of Numsa, saying that failure is not an option. One way or another, they've got to find a compromise. There will have to be compromises on both sides to make sure that this is resolved, because the consequences are too dire to contemplate.